My name is Caitlin Adams. I am a project specialist at Towson University, and I have been in the field of archaeology since 2022. When I was in field school, we were going on a tour around the whole site area. So it was a museum, and then the outside part was also part of the museum. So we went to a printing house that was from the 18th century possibly, and during the interpretation of the printing house, the volunteer who was acting as the printer, like dressed in historical wear, he gave me this slip, and he basically said, like, I'm buying her, like, this is, she's a slave and I'm buying her, and this is what, this is representative of, like, what they would print, and, what it's representative of. And I was just in complete shock, and one of the other Black students, they stood up for me and were like, this is not okay, and the person who was leading the tour didn't do anything. She was trying to make it seem like, oh, he's old, like, he doesn't know what he's doing, he's senile, senile, and I got up and I just left because I just needed to get out. And a few other students were there for me, and we were allowed, me and the other two Black students in the field school were allowed to leave for the rest of the day. But I felt extremely supported by our field staff and our mentors, because they made sure that he was then released from working there. So, yeah.
My name is Kenan Holmes. I'm an African-American history section manager and museum educator. By trade, I am a cultural anthropologist and archaeologist in the freelance paleontology. So actually, this was a conversation we had. I went to American University for a graduate school, and this was a conversation we labs. Oh, really? Oh, awesome. And so it was a tense conversation, because we were trying not to bestow the blame game onto each other, but I see a lot fewer Black men in the field, and I think what we came to realize is when we're younger, we're told all these stories about like what we've dealt with in Jim Crow and segregation, and these are family stories, but you don't want to be reminded about it on your day job too. So like 9 to 5, you don't want to keep talking about the same thing that your grandpa talked you to your ears fell off about. So you just want to make money and do something totally different and not have to deal with it. And I noticed a lot more compassion and willingness to do the hard work with women that were like, hey, I want to do this, let's tackle this, let's try to fix it in a way that a lot of my contemporary male counterparts just were like, no, that's not for me. But I noticed a lot of women, a lot of Caucasian women picking up the slack in working in African studies, and things that you wouldn't think is for certain people, but it's whoever wants to master the topic. And so realizing that women had a bit more patience to deal with these tough conversations and to bring it home and talk about it with their family as well when they get home. So I noticed there's a lot more Black women than men. I'd say like 7 to 1 in the field.
My name is Dr. Colin and I am an assistant professor of anthropology and archaeology here at Towson University. For one thing, it's a matter of opportunity. a difficult field to recruit people into anyway, because people don't realize that there are a lot of decent paying career options, right? Most people in archaeology don't work in academia like I do. There's loads of other archaeology jobs out there that people can get. But I think that the field started as a field of white people studying brown people. And those roots are still with us today. So integrating the field is not something that is coming naturally, and the BIPOC folks that I know in archaeology have to carry this immense burden of being the diversity in the field and being on every diversity committee and every panel on how to bring the BIPOC community into the field, right? So that's not a great motivator for folks to come in knowing that your workload will be much heavier. So I also think that, we see a higher concentration of BIPOC folks in impoverished areas, right? And that means that they have fewer opportunities to access information about this career opportunity, right? So the schools that often do internships or career days don't have archaeologists come to their schools if they're in the inner city, right? So I've been doing career days at Baltimore City Public Schools for the last year. And it's a world of difference doing career days at those schools during the school day while students are in their regular classes, in comparison to more affluent schools where I've done career nights after school hours where the parents bring their kids in a very different environment. So, I think it's really important for archaeologists to get into those communities and make folks aware that there are opportunities, because they really don't know and they don't feel welcome.
My name is Kelly Kalick, and I am the Parks Archaeologist for Howard County Recreation and Parks. My philosophy is working, it's a community-based archaeology, public archaeology, for example, I worked on a cemetery project here in Harford County that was a historically black cemetery, formerly enslaved, and paid laborers for the Carroll family. So working with descendants of people who are actually buried at that cemetery, bringing those families in who have that tangent connection to the past is really important. I think they have a right to access. Like Keenan had said, we have the accessibility and the availability to preserve and keep those objects safe for the future for preservation. But I always have open access to allow these community members to come look at the collections, to do research with the collections. And I do not think that these collections should be closed. I think they should be available to all. I definitely think that you should reach out, even if you're not comfortable or confident, reach out, because I know for one thing, I always welcome students to come work with me and get the opportunity to come to seek out. And I know that, people who are from different cultures can provide different perspectives to the research. So I think that it's exciting when I see, a diverse community coming out to work on sites. So I think it's very important.